In this lesson, we are going to talk about the iris and how the iris helps us control the amount of light that is entering the eye. We said that the light will pass through the cornea and the lens, but how much light is entering in the eye is controlled by the iris, which is a disc-like structure behind the chamber that contains the fluid of the aqueous humor. It is the colored part of the eye. Tiny muscles adjust the size of the pupil to regulate the amount of light that enters the eye. The opening in the middle of the eye, this is the pupil. Here is the eye, and we see this black hole here. This is in the middle of the iris, and it's the pupil. The iris here is the colored part, and here it's a bluish gray. So this big disc is the iris, and in the middle we have the pupil. The muscles in the iris will adjust the size of the pupil. The muscles can either make the pupil bigger or smaller. This regulates the amount of light that enters the eye. If the pupil is big, more light will be able to enter the eye. If the pupil is small, less light will be able to enter the eye. And this is regulated by the iris, and this is how the iris controls the amount of light that enters the eye. So the pupil is actually an opening inside of the iris. We have two types of muscles in the iris. We have circular muscles and radial muscles that look elongated and longitudinal. And this is how they act. Let's say we have bright light in front of us. What will happen is that the circular muscles will contract and the radial muscles will relax. This will push the muscles to the inside and it will make the hole smaller. So the pupil will constrict, it will become smaller, and less light will be able to enter the eye. This is because we have bright light and we don't want to damage our eye. Now, in the opposite case, if we have dim light, the circular muscles will relax while the radial muscles will contract. This will push the iris to the outside, making the hole bigger. So the pupil is dilating here, and when there is dim light, we can actually see it in other people. Their pupils dilate so that more light can enter, because here we have dim light. We need all the light we can get to be able to see. So again, how do we regulate the amount of light entering the eye? We do that using the muscles of the iris. The muscles of the iris regulate the size of the pupil in order to regulate the amount of light that is entering the eye.